Ladies and gentlemen, in the news lately, an election in Zimbabwe, a controversial election observer report, an interesting documentary, something, espionage charges. Now, this all begins at the end of the Zimbabwean elections when leader of the region's election observer Nakachinda released a report which claimed that the elections were not up to international standards. Of course, this angered the local ZANU-PF and they didn't let that one slide. Through the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, a documentary was released. The Grand Regional Scheme, How Foreign Powers and Local Elites Are Destroying Africa. Of course, just the title will have you saying, God damn! But then you think, no, let me be open-minded. Let me not be biased. Let me see the cast of this documentary. Let me watch the trailer.
Almost all politicians and civic leaders I encountered in Lusaka and beyond had a story to tell about the infamous figure who had just headed a SADC election observer mission to Zimbabwe.
God damn! These guys went ahead and assembled the Avengers. These are obvious key players in the opposition parties we have in Zambia currently. Now, long story short, this documentary was simply made to discredit the SADC chairperson, which is Presido, and the person he appointed to be leader of the election observers, which is former Vice President Nakachinda. Now, what followed after this documentary aired was a word I last heard in this book, Gateway to Grade 8, espionage. And it was slapped on these two. Before we even get into the espionage, I have to admit, the first 10 minutes of this documentary of part 1 are actually interesting. Everything started to change as soon as I decided to come to Zambia.
To find out led us to none other than the northern neighbor of Zimbabwe, Zambia.
Of all the things to film, sure, a clogged drainage, unfinished house in the village, bushes, as if we're not the same people and we share so much. Kariba Dam, Victoria Falls. Even when we go abroad and foreigners ask us, what country are you from? And we tell them Zambia, they ask us about Robert Mugabe. Simply put, espionage is taking information from your country, giving it to foreign powers. You're thinking spies. I'm thinking James Bond. Even Johnny English, something climatic and dramatic. But in this case was a bit,
President Nakachinda was being sponsored, and I think continue to be sponsored by some of these imperialist organizations like the Brent Trust Foundation, the Oppenheimers and the De Beers and all this. I can tell you that we are working with our heads buried in our palms out of shame because this president that we have is a puppet.
Interesting stuff, but boring. Look at this other kind of espionage.
Don't give it to him. This isn't plutonium. It's worse than that, goddammit!
Definitely worthy of espionage. But let's be fair. Let's try out Fred Membe.
After their victory in Zambia, they thought the region could turn so easily. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema here, he's sponsored by the Anglo-American Corporation Foundation, the Brentes Foundation, run by the Oppenheimers. That sponsors the DA in South Africa. That sponsors Bobby Wine in Uganda. That sponsored Raila Odinga in the last elections.
Again, interesting stuff, but boring. Maybe they should have added some action sounds or even some gun sounds. But no. With Nakachinda's case now in the High Court, Fred Membe's case also pending. We're yet to see what information comes out of all this. Will they be found guilty or will it be a mistrial? Ladies and gentlemen, react, comment, and share.